steering committee for the last 10 years. Many of those years were very formative for me. I was still in college, still learning and growing, very much still coming into my own, and I was desperately looking for role models. They weren't on TV, they weren't in the classroom. In fact, they were nowhere to be found until Jahajee Sisters was born. So in a way, Jahajee Sisters raised me and supported me to become the leader I am today. And so tonight is so important for me. And Jahajee Sisters is so important to me, and I'm so happy you're here with us to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. We are also here, of course, to commemorate 100 years since the abolition of Indian indentureship. It's powerful, I think, that these two moments should happen to coincide. As we embark into the next decade of our journey, we want to take this opportunity to reflect on our history through a feminist lens, look at the progress that has been made, and think about what is next for Indo-Caribbean women. And I think this is an important time to be looking back at our legacy of survival, because in this very moment, so many Indo-Caribbean women are feeling anxiety and fear. Just this year, as Simone said earlier, Rajwanti Baldeo was killed in broad daylight right here in Richmond Hill, Queens. Right? Her head was nearly sawed off of her body, and this is happening in our community in 2017. And this is only the story that we know. What is happening behind closed doors? What are the stories that we do not know? In 2017, we are living in a world where immigration raids are happening. People are being rounded up and torn away from their families when their only crime is being here. Hatred of Muslims has already resulted in the deaths of 2 Indian men, and women wearing hijab are scared to walk down the street. We have politicians who brag about committing sexual assault or who turn a blind eye to it. And at the same time, funding to end violence against women is under attack. All of this burdens the lives of Indo-Caribbean women. All of this impacts us. So these are hard times, but we also know that we are hard people. And when I look at my mom, who's sitting here in the front row, I'm reminded of that. My mom tells me about how in order to come to the US, my grandmother had to come first and then sponsor her and the rest of the 6 children. At 16, my mother was the oldest, and while my grandma was gone, she took care of all the other kids for 2 years. She tells me about how when she first came to this country, she didn't have any money and had to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. When she arrived, she was a stranger in a strange land. No one knew what Guyana was. She would send letters back home and get them returned because the mailman sent it to Ghana, G-H-A-N-A, and this happened several times. So she started to, on the package, write Guyana, South America, really big, and also mark the coordinates, so many degrees latitude and so many degrees longitude to fix that problem. But the point is, no one knew who we were or where we came from, right? And both of my parents experienced the prejudice that comes with that. They were passed over for jobs because of their skin, and when they went to buy their first home, the white folks in the neighborhood got wind and bundled their money together so that they could outspend my folks and buy the home instead. My mother doesn't think her story is remarkable, but to me, it is utterly fascinating. When I think about everything so many of you in this room went through to build a better life, this quote comes to mind. They tried to bury us. They did not know we were seeds. I know that we, Indo-Caribbean women, will not only survive what is happening today, but we will grow our community's power. Because somehow we always know how to make something from nothing, whether it was life during indentureship or breaking the ocean in half to come to this strange country where no one knew who you were or seemed to want you here. We always seem to create a better world despite all the odds. You're going to be hearing from a dynamic panel of speakers tonight who will be exploring this theme, of Indo-Caribbean feminism and women's resilience throughout history to today, and reflecting on what they believe is next for Indo-Caribbean women. They'll be sharing their own lived experiences of what it's meant for them to be an Indo-Caribbean woman. And while they don't represent all the women in our community, they do represent a wide range of experiences, including voices that are not traditionally heard. So I am delighted to introduce them to you, and if you folks would make your way up to the stage, that would be great. Dr. Lisa Outhar is a scholar in the areas of Indo-Caribbean literature, feminist writing, and the connections between the Caribbean and other sites of the indentureship diaspora. She is there on the end. Elizabeth Jaikaran is an Indo-Caribbean Muslim author and lawyer, and her first book, Trauma, will be published later this year. Crystal Gisyawan is a feminist and LGBT activist working with the coalition advocating for the inclusion of sexual orientation. And Tej Kumari Motilal is a Jahajee Sisters Steering Committee member who founded and runs Standing in Our Power, a leadership program for women of color. Their full bios are in your program, so if you want to read their very long list of accomplishments, feel free to do that. The other thing I want to let you know is they're going to get up here and give some brief presentations, and after that we're going to have Q&A. In your programs there are index cards. Those are for Q&A if you were wondering what they were for.